for anybody that's not here. Aloha, Mr. Rob. I didn't say aloha to you. And Melissa, yay, sneaking in on the nice air-conditioned lanai, I see. Let me see. I want to make sure that I have the screen up that I want to have up without you guys seeing any of my secret screens. I have all these weird screens up today. Let's see. How about if I go like this? Can I go like this? That doesn't really help. Okay. That seriously doesn't help now. Like this. Wait, hold on. How do I do it? How do I do it? Holy cow, I just lost it. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now that I know what I'm doing, I'm getting up to speed. I just got home from Belgium. I'm jet lagging, COVID positive, but I am all ready to rock and roll this. Wait, looks up. I look short of my screen. I need to have the total top of my board. Okay. Okay, sharing. Nah. Are you kidding? This is combat readiness right here.
There you go.
Right. I think this is the one. Can anybody see my nice little screen here?
Yeah.
Outstanding. I'm gonna move this over. Where's my play button? Oh shoot, I have to stop because I'm supposed to share with sound so we can all share the sound. I don't know if any of you have seen this little gimmick before. I think what I'm gonna try to do is play it and then big screen it. Okay, you ready? This is just something I want you to watch. And then I'm gonna continue drawing. I have, well, 1 whole minute to draw.
Coca-Cola.
Well, way up north where the air gets cold, there's a tale about Christmas that you've all been told. And a real famous guy on the rim, and he spends the whole universe. It's the losing
Yay! Okay, hopefully that doesn't continue playing. I just wanted you guys to spot that. Has anybody, I'm gonna turn my back if you don't mind, so I can finish my drawing. Has anybody seen that commercial? Oh, it is playing again. Wait, hold on 1 sec. Oh, it's gonna, oh, that's so cute. I'm gonna delete it because we don't need it anymore. All righty, okay. So has anybody seen that one before? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, Coke, right?
Yeah, Coca-Cola one.
Season.
Yeah. So believe it or not, in a kind of a contorted way, it's definitely going to bring us back to the start. So today is going to be our first what I call a normal day. We're going to always let me do one thing. I'm going to shut this. I have lots of reflections on the board. I don't like reflections, so some of them I can reduce by shutting the shade. The first thing we want to start with today is absolutely and completely the Proverbs from last week. Now, this is on an honor system. We got 6. We're missing 2 people. One told me she wasn't going to be here. Mahie is not here. Silly Mahie. Rhonda's not here. Silly Rhonda. Yeah. But who's here is going to be the movers and the shakers. We're going to start by, can you give me the, see, a little, without reading, just the best you can, the Proverbs we had from last week that we discussed. What were the Proverbs? No reading. Just tell me. English, Hawaiian, doesn't matter.
The second one was Ika olelo no keola, Ika olelo no kamake.
Ika olelo no. Okay, here's the moment of truth. Did you just read that? Or did you,
No,
you pull that? Okay,
that's
good.
one of the few
Okay,
that I remembered from when I was in high school.
See, you haven't forgotten everything from high school. First kisses, Proverbs, Ika, Olelo. Okay, ready? I'm going to turn around. No. Miss Melissa, what were the last 2 words over here?
Oh, I can't see.
Oh, you can't see? How come?
No.
Is it,
Oh,
make my screen the biggest screen.
okay.
You can do it by pinning it if you want. Upper right-hand corner of my screen.
No, hold on.
Okay, I'll go to Leah. So are you on your phone? Is that what's happening?
No, it's just,
Oh.
it's my kid's iPad. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of, I'm sorry.
Okay, since Leah is new to the class, do you remember what the last two words they are? I'm going to go to you quick just to kind of break the ice on you. Uh-oh, coming over to you, Chelsea. So be ready. Leah, you want to pass it? There's my COVID cough.
Amake?
Kamake, exactly. Okay, we'll get to pick on Mr. Rob real quick. What does this say, Mr. Rob?
I'm texting Rhonda. Rhonda just sent me an email. I'm trying to log on to our Zoom meeting and can't find the link. So sorry, I was sending her the link.
What? Okay, good. Why didn't
Ask me the
everybody
question
else get
again.
it?
Ask me the question again.
Okay, sure. No sweat. I'm glad you were helping out other paddlers. They kind of dropped their paddles.
Yeah,
so-
sorry, I
okay.
wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Yeah, no, kind of forgot to bring their paddles, so you just handed it to them. So, Ikolelo Kilo, Ikolelo Kamake, what does that mean? Just a
The
straight
language of
translation.
the language of life, the language of death, and I just
Well-
remember make because it means to kill or death.
Yeah,
And
well, how do
then
you,
olelo
Olelo.
language.
Yeah, so Ikolelo
You're making fun of my Minnesotan accent.
Ikolelo Kamake. So, we're going to review them every day. So I know some of you were you said in your comments that you were a little bit nervous, and please don't call on me because I'm not good at, that's why if you get everything all set up, if you know how to set up, and I know to bring my ear pads, I know to set this on a chair, on the table, so it's just like this on this board, I know to mark the board, I get everything, so everything's the lesson. If you get everything, then everything will also be the lesson, especially if you get here on time. But we're going to go over these every day. And by the end of the session, I really would certainly like to think you would be able to just say it and interpret it. But what was the other thing we thought was important about this, Chelsea? What was it? What's the take-home message of this? Oh, you were here last week, Melissa, so I'll come to you in about 35 seconds. What's the take-home message of this? Is it just a proverb that's sitting on the board that was not that useful or helpful?
Well,
Watch
for
it.
me,
Wait, hold on, Melissa. Chelsea?
oh, okay.
I think
Oh,
forgot.
perfect timing. Rhonda jumps in, so now
Thank
she
you,
can-
Sorry,
By the way, if you come in late, as soon as you come through that door, I'm going to ask
I'm just, okay, perfect.
to inculcate you into the whole spin.
Okay, perfect.
What does this mean here?
Okay, hold on.
Without
Can you show
looking it
me?
up, right, it's right here on the screen. I'm just pointing at it. What does this mean?
Okay. Ola is life and
Mhm.
make is death.
Sure. What does it translate to? Just give me the whole translation. Just translate it for me. Tell me the meaning.
Is it learning gives life? Wait, no. Oh, our language, our speech can give life and our speech can give death.
Very close. How would you have said that, Melissa?
Just,
Oh, I thought you were ready. What happened, Melissa? What is that iPad really giving you a hard time? You just go ahead and spit on it. Go ahead.
my spin was that you should watch what you say.
Well, the translation. Of course,
Oh.
maybe the meaning or the sort of the metaphorical sense. Just say it.
Words give life and words can give death.
Okay. Okay. How about Mr. Kala? Just go ahead and give it to us in the straight language. Boom. Oh, careful.
In the
Don't-
word, there's life. In the word, there's death.
Yeah, in the language or the words, there's life. In the language or words, there's death. So, but what was the interesting thing about this? What is something that's a take home from this, from last week? All we have to do is wind back about 7 days. I just got off a 22-hour flight. I can still remember 7 days ago, believe that or not.
We talked about languages, like cultures where language is passed down orally
Yes, is what cultures?
Well, Hawaiian culture used to be orally passed down before
Yeah, yeah.
it was.
Because why was it orally passed down? Because
It was part of how the culture was passed down.
okay, Rob, why was this passed down only orally?
Because they didn't,
Because
they didn't write.
They didn't
Because
have
they did
the
it right.
written language yet.
And when you say, and the reason why would that even be important to know? That you didn't have writing, and that's why you passed everything down orally. Why? Why would that be important for you to know?
Because you had to learn how to really listen.
Well, no, yeah, you really did. But it means the cultures that didn't have writing have things that say this. You could
Yeah.
learn a lot about a culture if you know they don't write. Automatically, you'll know a lot of important things. So that's why I don't say this is Hawaiian. The concept is that they didn't have writing, so their language was very important. It kind of makes sense, but don't stare myopically at the center. Look at why this is kind of important. It's primarily important because it was a non-written culture at the time. And then the other thing we said about this, what was some other powerful ideas that we came across with this proverb? Anything, I mean, anything that was powerful.
Well, we talked about contracts, right? And how there used to be binding contracts
And
how
what-
the fact that,
Mhm.
go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, I just was gonna say that the whole thing to me, the takeaway on that was they value trust. And they trust each other based on their word. They don't
Yes.
need to have to put it out in writing in order to be like, oh, I'm reassured. So to me, I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool.
I thought that was super cool, that you have to be trust because your word is
Everything.
everything. That's what it means. Your word is absolutely everything. And what, let me see, I had something I wrote down over here. Melissa, you had, I didn't realize your last name, your maiden name was Manolo?
Manalo.
Manalo, sorry.
Yes.
Manalo. Yeah, where did I get Manolo? Manalo? Oh, I better go check.
Says Manolo.
Yeah. Shame on me. I try to treat names almost sacredly because when you speak people's name, you're speaking their ancestors, all of them that go back that side. So I try to be very, very particular. So names, when you talk about names, when you don't make fun of people's names, that's how important things that come out of your mouth. So what you say is absolute. It's everything in a culture that doesn't have writing, but also to partition off a certain type of speech when you're talking about people's names. So does anybody remember Bulaia? What did Bulaia call the governor at that time? Do you remember? It was Governor Waihe'e. What did he call him?
I don't know.
He used to call Governor Waihe'e. What's Wai? What does
Water.
Water means water. What is He'e?
Paddle.
Close. Hoi. We'll get that word later. It means He'e means squid.
Good.
So he used to
Yes.
call the governor Squidwater. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't believe he would say that and even think it was funny that you just insulted this sacred, one of the four sacred waters of Maui, the slippery water, right? The four sacred waters of Maui, Waihe'e, Wailuku, Waikapu, and that he would make fun of it and call it squid water. It would just blow right past Governor Waihe'e and insult all the generations of Maui Waihe'e families. Just really sad. But he was a comedian. But there's certain things you don't typically do. You
Did
don't
that?
typically. Say again?
Who did you say did that?
Oh, he's a kind of a comedian. He's a young comedian at the time. He was probably in his late 20s. He's he had pretended to have a missing tooth. He bust out his teeth. Yeah, bro, let's go drink beer. We go beach. Yeah, go away. Yeah, squid water. You think you know what he's saying? And I thought, oh God.
You gotta YouTube it, Rob. YouTube it.
Yeah,
Bulaia.
that sounds like some entertainment for sure.
Yeah, no, it's a bit offensive when it comes to that, but he is kind of and he does perpetuate a stereotype, which I think people enjoyed watching, but we're trying to now going to spend the next generation getting away from that stereotype. Anyway, so there we go. Boom. What was another proverb? Boy, we sure spent some time on that one. What was another proverb we had from last week? But no looking it up. No looking it up. Everybody's eyes on the screen. Give me an interpretation of it or something. I'm just going to force it on you. I'm just going to force it. Next week, you'll definitely have these. Just try to, which one?
I can't say the Hawaiian. I
No, it's
can't.
okay. In English.
Not all knowledge is learned in one school.
Yeah, not all knowledge is learned in one school. Can anybody give me some of the proverb, the Hawaiian part?
Halau.
Hello. Yep. Very good. I hope I could. I'll put it right here. Hello.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. Hello. Because next time you'll definitely remember that, but you'll remember another one. Anybody remember any parts of that proverb? I'll write it all down.
Ohe.
There we go. There was an ohe in the beginning. I'll try to write small so I can. Ohe.
Ike was there.
Oh, ike right here.
Yeah.
So this says something isn't the knowledge, isn't the learning. What isn't the learning?
Pau.
Oh,
What is that word again?
Pau.
Pau. Aohe pau. Aohe pau ka ike where?
Halau.
E. Ka. Look, I put it all the way too far. I thought I was going to write big. Hello. I'll write bigger so you guys can see it. What was that last one there, Mr. Rob? Wait, I know who's going to know. Go. Oh,
I only, I don't know the end of it. I just
It's
know it means
okay.
to make.
Mr. Kalana.
Oh, hey.
Oh, close. The H is there. All right, well, finish it off, Mr. Kala.
Ho'okahi.
Okay. So I'm not calling Leah at all because she wasn't part of our. But did you get a chance to watch the video though, Leah? I'll tell you right now, it's torture to watch this thing. It's torture to watch our class on video unless you are participating in it. I can't stand to watch it because I can't stand to hear myself. But I can't imagine sitting for 90 minutes listening to a bunch of people talking and I can't jump in on it. So that's why the punishment, sort of, I mean, no, the joy and the privilege of missing class is you get to watch it and not be able to throw in your own answers or make your own jokes. Okay, somebody just give me the translation, please.
Not all learning comes from the same school.
Yeah, not all learning is going to come from the same school. We're going to talk about it because that was part of the write-up on the, we'll talk about the last class. Tell me, what were some of the other things we learned from the last class?
We talked about the mana wheel.
Oh, the mana circle? We'll put it right here just for now, just so we could talk about it a little. Okay, and what was it consisting of? Oh, wait, Miss Leah. Wait, yeah, we're gonna put it right here. Oh, we're gonna see how much. Leah, did you remember any of this? Oh, I'm putting you on heavy pressure now. Okay, brother here, he says Ohana. We'll put Ohana right here. You did say some interesting things in your write-up about this circle here, Mr. Rob. I look forward to discussing it a bit right now. Okay, what are some of the other spaces?
Hana.
Hana.
Hana, wow, what's so incredible about the Hana?
It's the only one that we have a choice in.
It's the only choice you're gonna have in your entire life. You're never gonna choose your family, more or less, and you're never gonna choose this one, which is what? Miss Alyssa? Aina's right over here. Okay, so, and let's be clear, Aina could be, there's very little variation where you're from or where you are. Your place, you're setting roots down. And of course, this, even though these are all Hawaiian words, and if you don't know the words, it's obviously family and it's land or place. It doesn't mean place in Hawaiian, but that's what it's referring to. And Hana is obviously what you do, or we're just going to use the word work. And we know that the Hana is the only choice, but this applies to everybody. This is any culture. If I had to go, in fact, I had a whole conference full of physicians once, and I just talked about this. I had a room full of epidemiologists and infectious disease control and epidemiologists. I just did this. And so it goes anywhere. I flew all the way to Washington, and they were just going to buy my ticket. But after I did my lecture, then they gave me a stipend and paid for my hotel. And then I met a girlfriend. So that was kind of cool there. Different girlfriend though. Let's see. She was so beautiful, but I'm kind of glad we went separate ways. Okay, that's that. And what any other things we did? Let's talk about let me just go down. Let's see, Miss Rhonda, what did you get out of the last class? You did say some interesting things. What were some of the things? This, obviously, we choose our hana, you mentioned. Let's go back. One of the things, well, let's go through this first column of just this mana circle. Kalab, you liked something interesting that wasn't really the mana circle. You liked this idea. I kind of like that because the thing that it takes me to, what this will take me to is this idea that why am I requiring you to recite these things? Maybe next week I'll do this lesson. I think next week might be better. Yeah, next week will be better. I'll do this talk next week. What else did you get out of this, Mr. Kala?
Oh, you're talking about ho'o and
No, that was cute. It's powerful because you can just connect it to many words.
yeah, I mean,
Ho'o,
you
ho'o,
talked about how it's a causative, and whatever follows that is a causative, and all these years go by in my life, and I think I learned that was a good English language thing to learn.
Yeah, certainly. But just when you think about it, there's a couple of these that are very helpful. If I told you to, what does hale mean?
House.
What does ho'ohale mean?
To make a house.
Make
build
house. Being
To
comfortable.
house, to give, to make the house. I mean, not to make the house, but to
Taking
Shelter.
ho'ohale a person, to shelter. Thank you. That was a better word. To shelter or to create a house. Let's see, who was it that said some things? Melissa, you were the one who said names are important because you're Manolo. And that's why when the names are important, not Manolo, but Manalo, right? Like why Manalo?
Yes,
Yeah, like
right
well,
there
let's-
behind us.
yeah, let's just write it then. Even though this Manalo means a little different, because that's a Tagalog name, right? Manalo. Yeah. We don't not the reason that we say these things, their names are important because of the mana that words have. So these are kind of connected, and the mana that it has, and we need to be very careful about how we use it. Let's see. The one thing that Robert, can you please? Is that what you like to be called? What do you like to be called? Rob, Robert,
You can call
Bob?
me whatever. I go by Rob
Okay.
or Bobby. Usually the buddies
Okay.
call me, but it
Okay.
doesn't matter, man.
Okay, brother Bobby. What did you get out of that last class? I got a big question in there. Comments here.
So the main thing that I got, I guess, that really sparked me so first of all, it's 10:30 at night here.
Okay.
So I'm about passing out. So I woke up the next morning after that, and you guys really struck a chord with me when you talked about the ohana and how I was the only one who voted for all three.
Mhm. Yep, I
And I
remember.
kind of, that's what I chose to reflect on our
Yes.
meetup. And what I took from that is I don't really think like you can learn or know how to treat the aina or the land or understand what your hana is unless you have a good connection with your ohana, which includes keakua, your kapuna.
Yeah, we said
And
that here.
then, so I guess you guys really struck a chord with me on that because on the mainland culture in Minnesota, the Irish Catholic way that I was raised was to put family first and learn from them. So it's very, very similar on that front. But I
Okay.
love how that's kind of the source of the others when it comes to
Can I pivot really quick? Chelsea,
Absolutely.
and what kind of mindset was Bob talking about right now? He just said, what kind of culture? Did you hear it? Who heard what Bob said just now? In what kind of culture?
Catholic?
And what kind of, no, not the Catholic culture.
Oh.
A bunch of people mentioned it actually. What kind of culture?
Minnesotan?
No.
Mainland culture.
Wow, what a recall. He said mainland culture, which is important to, so when we look at this and you look at people from Hawaii, and we say, oh, well, but the mainland culture thinks this way. What does that say about the mother circle then?
The power of it.
It can, except if over here is the mainland, what does this land become?
Like separate, like it's only possible if you're in Hawaii.
It's the minor land. It's the
Oh.
minor land. Because this is the mainland. This must be the minor land. But it's a little subtle. It's a nuance. But imagine if every kid you ever talk to would say, we live in Hawaii, but that's the mainland. This is where you come from, where your ancestors' bones are buried. But that over there is the mainland. I do believe that is the mainland, the continent over there. There are many indigenous cultures who buried their people's bones for thousands and thousands, 30,000 years. We only buried bones in these islands, I mean, archaeologically for 2,000 years. But over there, they were on the Americas, the First Nation tribes in Americas for 40,000 years. They have just eons of making their land, their place where they came from, the place they were birthed from, the place that they died to. So this little idea, I have a whole talk about it from which we didn't get to last week. Robert, when you said you go out and discover living aloha, the students are, I grew up where? On the mainland. But also Ali, who's not here today, she said, we always seem to encourage kids to go to school on the mainland. And then I also noticed in some of the comments, people are having difficulty thinking before speaking, how exciting it was to live all around the mainland. And that was, Leah, you said that. Melissa, you had said, I lived, oh, that's Leah was commenting on your statement. I lived all over the mainland and abroad. You're going to be working with kids in Hawaii, likely. Just remember where their land is. This is true for some people, but in Hawaii, the mainland is here. Or you're just telling them you come from an inferior place in a space. Your land is not mainland. So just something. It all calls, it's what we might call, and I don't want to be PC and I'm not all woke, but when you pay attention to your words and they are powerful, they have the power of life or the power of death. The term I'm talking about is called you ever heard it?
Aggression?
Microaggression, just little things, just a little peck. But when everybody's pecking it, in one class, I got 5 in one lesson from last week, there were 5 mainlands popped up. So it's just a little shift and change. What do we mean by mainland? When I say mainland, I mean here. When I refer to other people's mainland, I make it clear I'm referring to their land. A microaggression. It happens a lot. It's nothing that nobody's going to die over, but generations will die over it. Little by little, but pecked away to mini land. I'm going to remove this minor right now. Okay, I'm glad. Thank you for bringing that up, Mr. Rob.
Yeah.
I did think of all the writings. I thought about yours because you were saying, like, how is it that we are going to say the most important part? Now, you guys, as I read your comments, really made it clear for me to how to say this. This is the most influential part because, at least let me recast it slightly different, but even though ohana is probably the most important, when it comes to your ability to affect it, you don't have that much effect. Your ohana has an effect on you, but you don't particularly, hopefully you contribute to your ohana. But in the course of your mana, I'm going to say my family is very important to me, whether we interact or not. I get talents, I've got upbringing from them, but this is the only one henceforth moving forward that I can really do anything about. This aina is not only because I declare the space that I'm standing in or the place that I live in or my home is important enough to defend, then I can generate strength that I don't typically have, anger that I might need that I don't usually harbor. But that hana is definitely, so I was kind of getting the sense that we could distribute the effect across all 3, certainly. But I think the one that, and this is a leadership talk. By the way, I had to think of the term and I'm just going to call it that. There are times when I'm not talking to you guys as students at all. I'm talking to you guys are the people who are going to have the most impact on kids' lives. So it's a talk above the kids. So this is a tool. This is a tool. This is a tool. This is leadership talk. You might not know how to use it, but try to use it. Does anybody know what a flex head ratchet is? A metric flex head ratchet? If I handed you one, yeah, it's a ratchet that flexes, and then you put a little, they put little sockets on them. They look almost like this, and you screw them off and on. If I handed you one, you wouldn't know what to do. You could easily break glass with it if you wanted. You could, you could hammer nails awkwardly, but you could use it. But if you pick it up and start using it, it becomes a tool. If you never pick it up, you'll never know how to use it. So awkwardly, you'll use this flex head ratchet. Awkwardly, you'll tap the jar's edge so you can make it loose and then open the jar. But use these awkwardly in this course, only if for this course. And if you don't want to, never use them again. But at least give the tools a chance, as many of you have, as I remember Miss Auli'i was saying in her recent remarks, who's unable to join us tonight. But use these tools, memorize these tools when possible, so that they become your manna, and use them, because in this class, I expect it. And then when this class is done, you can then decide, okay, will I ever really need it? Well, you don't even know if it's useful. At least try to use these things. So that kind of jumped around a bit more than I anticipated. Let me see. I'm gonna need to move a little more quickly. Oh, so this idea, this is where I'm getting it from Brother Bob, who's, I know it's late, bro, and the beauty sleep is always needed. For this, if you make it Hana as the pivotal part of this, as all of you said in your comments, then you put this on the student. Now, almost everybody mentioned it explicitly that this was impactful. Why was it impactful? Why do you think it was impactful? Was it because I gave you a lesson?
Impactful?
That it was of the last class, this is what stood out. Yours was a little different, a much more kind of,
Because
I think.
that's kind of our role, is helping guiding our students to finding that Hana.
Yeah.
And not as a Kumu, right? It's not necessarily what to tell them what that is, but to help guide them to get there. And then the other thing that I like, that I kind of noticing as you talk about this, is something that I bring in my classroom is Unero, Hana, and Aina. Like you can't control those, but you can control how you react to them. What you do with your Hana. So
your Hana,
yes. So I try and tell them, you got to accept that, but you can control how you react to it. I can't tell you, I'm not going to act like I've been in your shoes, because I haven't. But, you choose that.
I remember you wrote that. And that's exactly what I mean. Here, leadership talk again. It was impactful because you built it. I just guided it. I made you develop it. I made you discover it. And that's why you walk away with it. And that's why that's why the first class is critical, because we built this. You guys built it. You all sort of, light bulbs went off. Your light bulbs. I could have told you this. If you don't do it Socratically, nobody will really remember it. And I always challenge. I asked you what was the most important, and most everybody said Ohana, but Brother Bob was the renegade. He said, I think all of them are equally. So that allowed us to rediscover it. Let's discover what's important. It's that process of teaching to make the kids discover it. I taught this one time, and I found out later that I taught it to a bunch of high-risk Hawaiian students. And then there was a teacher in the back who taught up at Kamehameha School. I found out later that he teaches it in his class, which I'm not that appreciative of. I guess I'm happy for him, but just ask me. Just ask me if you can, right? I taught it to a student once. In fact, it was one of the students in that class. About the following year, they were mentees. Then they became junior mentors. And she called me. She goes, Kumu, can I teach the Mana Circle? I said, sure. Tell it to me right now, though. Because if you don't do it right, it won't have the impact. It has to be delivered a certain way. And so I did talk to that guy that taught it up at Kamehameha School. And I said, it's okay that you teach it. Just make it valuable to them. Don't just spiel it because you were impressed. Make it impressive to the student. And so I'll just upfront, anything I teach you in this class are tools. They're yours. They're yours. But when people just come and sit in on my class and then walk away saying, I'm going to teach that and everything, I don't, all my students can teach anything I teach them. In fact, I get a little teary-eyed when they do. When that girl called me, Kumu, can I teach it to the next set of mentees? Of course you can, but tell it to me over the phone. I want to hear how you deliver. And then I had a student come into class one day, said, I saw this kid kind of fumbling around on the street. He said he just doesn't have anything going for him. And so I told him about it. So it just gets me teared up. Anyway, let's get moving because we got, believe it or not, a lot of interesting things to do today that's going to keep Mr. Bob awake. Let's see. Oh, by the way, you know what's really, I'm sorry, bro. I don't mean it. I know you're not that
No,
tired.
you're good.
But every time I mention your name, you perk up, see? But
Yeah,
what, bro, are your
you're getting
class,
kicked out of it.
what are your 4 class rules? It's the second time you mentioned it again, but you only appreciation. What are your 4 rules you mentioned in your comments?
Appreciation, mutual respect, attentive listening, and then the right to pass and the right right to participate.
Or what about the right to fail?
What? No, that's
about-
I test them on that because they go around and they have to define it and they all think, oh, well, of course I have the right to pass a class. And I'm like, yes, of course you do. Why would I have a rule based on that? It's the right to pass on sharing. So the whole
okay.
thing is if I teach health. So if it gets personal, I tell them, hey, we don't need to go down that route if it's personal. So different when you're quizzing, right?
Yeah,
So.
definitely. The one thing that you shared with Melissa also was, Melissa, you had mentioned that you liked the theme that we're all in this together, we're all paddling, which is also why we really do like people to be in the class so they can all paddle together. And this is all stuff from before. Now let's go really quick. I think we're going to move past that. Oh, we did. A lot of people spoke on the Ohe Pauka Ike. There's only a couple comments about the video, and we had it as this component too. It was a little then, what was our conclusion about this? What did this mean in conclusion? When we talked about this, we didn't come to the same conclusion all those Kumuhula came to.
Wasn't our conclusion that not all learning happens in one place?
That was the translation, but we had a one-word synopsis here. Okay, we're going to play by Hangman, sort of, more or less. I'm going to change colors. Okay, here it goes. Can you see that? Is that too small? I hear heavy breathing. What? Come on. Come on. What is the word?
Humble.
What
Oh,
is it?
yeah.
Humble,
It was
nice.
humble. Why is this different than what the Kumuhula we're talking about? We just need to be humble with our knowledge. People will know other things. It's okay. Somebody, Rob, if I might once again jump over to you, you had mentioned, and I'm not picking on you, but you always mentioned some intriguing stuff. You had said that everybody has a right to their view or something. You mentioned that. I almost quoted it. Yeah.
So that's something that I figured out in the last year of my life. Some of my students took me till I was 28 years old to figure that out. But everyone has their own view. You don't have to agree with it, right? But you still need to respect their right to their own view. Because think about it. Would you want someone telling you what your view is? I always kind of put that on them, I don't tell you what your view is, but
And I don't mean, I don't mean this as being a challenge to you particularly. The challenge we're going to have is people that are wrong. You can have an opinion of something, but if that opinion is wrong, I don't even have to validate it. I don't even think, like if we said, yeah, Black people should be.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah. Like that. Oh, I think that's wrong. But what my uncle once told me, and I'll bring him up later, he said, I was arguing with the medical school. I was arguing with some other agencies. And he called me to his home. He says, come over. He's like, everybody would go see him. the governor would come see him. I remember I came one day and the governor was leaving his place. And he just goes, Kiahi, he said, sometimes you have to let people be wrong. And ooh,
That's
that
how they
didn't,
learn.
yeah, that didn't feel so good. And I said, okay. And he says, and then you have to be okay with it. That's not happening. But it's what was causing a lot of my conflict. I was really trying to convince people that that's wrong. And I was wasting a lot of time. And I think that's one of your points, Rob. You can allow them to be wrong and be okay with it and be positive in your own direction. But sometimes it's not easy, especially when people come talking about Hawaiians. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I come in here and I mean, you don't push things onto me, right? If
No,
you
no,
started
no.
pushing things onto me, I'd be completely turned off. But you try and question, right? You put things out there for us to think about. So that's different, I guess, than telling someone what to think. So
yeah, certainly. And I get what you were saying. I just want us to be careful. It's okay. It's okay when we're in a classroom, we're all going to be a little soft. Sometimes you got to stand your ground on some stuff. And I don't stand my ground that much, really firm about something. But it's okay to like people say, well, Hawaiians wanted to be annexed. Oh, no, that's not true. So when people say that, I probably the most harsh I would get, I said, and I would appreciate if you stopped spreading the false.
So what's the purpose of making that comment though?
Only because it really,
No, that person. I don't understand why that person. Like, why would you ever need to say that?
I have friends that say that. I mean, we might be going like, hey, some people, and I'm not one way or the other, some people want to reestablish sovereignty. Oh, well, why? When Hawaiians, if they wanted sovereignty, I had somebody I know close, I took hiking when he first moved here, I felt so sorry for him. And he just posted on Facebook, he says, I'm not Hawaiian or anything, but if Hawaiians really wanted a kingdom, they would have fought for it. Yeah, I'm probably going to give him a big hug when I see him and say, bro, you need to shut your mouth. Yeah,
you got to do some breathing exercises, turn the other way, maybe have a beer too.
No, he's a good guy.
He's
just, some people don't know what they don't know. And I was probably one of them. I mean, I came to Hawaii like a little naive, and I said, wow, there's a lot of activity moving around, and let me pay attention. Let me listen. Let me watch. Let me have small discussions. And then, but they're just my points of view. And that's what I liked about your comment, that people can be wrong, but let's not be afraid to call them wrong and then walk away gracefully, shake hands if necessary. Maybe it will set into thinking there are recorrections, or it might just be opinion. Some might say, for example, who want to move politics, Democrats are better than conservatives, or conservatives are, those are just opinions. But
when you stand up for something though, when you get in those arguments, don't you usually, for me at least, I had one actually on the golf course earlier today where it was integrity was one of the values I stand for. When that was questioned, it was one of my buddies, and I don't usually lose a fuse, but I lost it because it was one of those things that I have about 5 or 6 values that I hold. And if you question those, I'm willing to die over. It's like, that's how I am with that. So
yeah, I got in the face of a colonel, and I was, I just stood in his face. And I said, you will never question my integrity, sir. You have no idea who I am. And that's a big no-no. You can question many things about me. You don't like my hair, the clothes I wear, or even how I speak. But you will never, ever, ever question my integrity. Never. Nobody will. And they can, but it will not be to their benefit. That's for sure. Anyway, that's definitely the point. So those 4 class rules, you kept mentioning it was like a secret reveal, but you're only revealing a part at a time. Let me move over. I think what I want to do, I read all the Nanaike Kumu. Almost everybody got right down the list what it meant. We're going to talk about some things about that, but let's first derive it the way we usually do. I'm going to write it right here, if you don't mind, right on the top. Nanaike. Okay, not too difficult here. Kumu. Somebody tell me a word that they know on this board.
Kumu is teacher.
Move teacher.
Well, who said it first? You're off the hook. Okay, Rhonda. Kumu is teacher. So, Rhonda, if Kumu is teacher, why did you later call it something else? Out of nowhere. Everybody says teacher, and then magically it changed its whole meaning later. How did that happen?
I don't know.
Miss Chelsea, what happened? Everybody starts with teacher, but then suddenly everybody calls it. What was the word it all changed to? You all changed it to it. Who didn't?
Source.
Source.
I think it was on that link that you posted.
What link was that?
The one where the research if necessary, like on the dictionary.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, good. Many of you, what I want is to kind of struggle a little bit with it, and then you're going to find out it allowed, because I went through these individually, these words. I said, what are they really saying? Because so nobody says it the way you from now on define this equal no kill. They'll think differently. You'll pop this off and they'll say, wow, I've never heard that before. Because somebody, like maybe me one day when I was really bored, said, I'm going to think it through. I want to think it through. I'm not going to go on the internet, type it in and say, oh, that's what it means. Why does it mean that? And then nobody asks, why would you even say it? Why? That's why I asked you. What was the relevance that we passed it for thousands of years down? It had to be important, well, because we couldn't write it. So it had to be important to say over and over again. So any of the other words we know here?
No.
Means?
Look, to look.
To look. Got it.
Why
Any
isn't
other
it
words?
Why isn't it ka ho o lo? Hey, sorry, I can't say it, but to listen.
Good job,
Because
bro.
we talk about it being an oral culture. Why do we
Mhm.
talk about looking to the source? Why don't we talk about listening?
Oh, true. We'll have to bust the Ouija board and ask my great.
No, I'm just curious if there is some significance, because that's how I'm breaking it down. in my head
Yeah,
when I
but that's
look
the
at it.
kind of thinking. But there's lots of things to say, and we'll have lots of proverbs we'll have proverbs that use the idea of listening. And how do you say listen again?
Ka ho o lo he.
Ka
I
ho'o,
can't say it.
ho'olohe,
Yeah, ka
ho'olohe.
ho o lo he.
Lohe means to
Ka ho o
hear.
lo he.
Lohe
Ka
means to
ho'olohe.
hear. What does lohe mean?
To hear.
To hear. Yeah, that's funny.
To hear,
So what does ho'olohe mean?
to make to listen.
To make to
listen
hear, which is listen. Ho'o, to make you hear, which is to listen, to make you listen.
And
Okay?
hey, squid. Hey,
Hey,
squid.
it's good. Yeah. So, any other words we know up here? Oh, come on.
K is the.
K is the, and then we're done. The, and this is to, like that. Look to the source. What does it mean? Some of you had said, pay attention to the teacher, Miss Rhonda, you said. Leah, you said something really profound. Seek knowledge from where it first started. I was like, whoa, yeah, it means that. Seek knowledge where it first started. How is that different than look to our kupuna? That was Miss Ali, so somebody who's here. Chelsea, use a really nice phrase where you said, use ike kupuna, or kupuna knowledge. I think you said that. I didn't quote it, so it might not have been exactly how you said it. Look to the source or the teacher. Melissa, you said, look within to your family, your parents, or your grandparents. What's the difference, may I ask, to saying, let's see, look to our kapuna means in the education of the youth, look to the source. So how does look to the source, what does it really, why would they say this? What is the importance of doing this? And where again are we looking?
So is it look to the source or look to the teacher?
Well, you're called a teacher because you're the source of some knowledge. No, but so the real root word is going to be more source. Look to the source. And I'm going to ask you, Rhonda, why are we looking to the source?
Maybe looking to the source of where the information's coming from.
Because you're looking for truth.
Yeah.
We're not looking for falsehoods. We're looking to the truth. And where do we find the truth? So let's, I got it. Guys, I got a quick little trivia question. Let me see. Okay, we're going to take a break. We're going to learn another idea. We're going to talk about why this is important by more of an example. But first there comes, wait, can I write? I have to write it right here. I want you guys to think about this. This is a glass. I'm sorry. Are you talking
I'm
to somebody?
sorry.
Oh, okay, that's okay. Yeah, you send me the kumukai. Hey, where are you? Hey, get over here. Get here. Okay, you put this, float this little iceberg in this glass. This is not the best rendition of iceberg I think I've ever done. Okay, well, you fill this glass with water, actually. And then you drop this ice, this piece of ice, all the way into this glass where it just floats. What's going to happen to the water in the glass?
It's gonna rise.
Well, it's at the very top. It's full. There's a minuscule layer.
Gold.
So then it's going to get cold, but when once I put the ice in, what's going to happen to the excess water?
It's gonna go over
Overflow.
the side.
It's going to overflow, so I dry it. Now, when this ice melts, one of three things is going to happen. What are the three things that's going to happen to the water now?
Rise.
It's either going to rise, which by rising means it's going to overflow. If it rises, because it's still full. So as this melts, if the water rises, it will overflow. Or what else can the water level do? It can go up, it can
Stay the same.
It is the
It
same.
could stay the same. I'll put that line there, or it could drop down. The question is, in this iceberg, is what will it do? That's just for your thinking right now. But more importantly, what we're going to talk about is this thing.
Depends on the circumstances.
Kind of, but not really. In the short transient melt, okay? What we have here is an actual iceberg. The tip of this iceberg is what people who live in, let's say, who lives in outskirts of Arkansas, what they know about Hawaii. What would somebody in Arkansas think? So when we're talking about what we're talking about here is what they would typically call this a cultural iceberg. What I call a cultural iceberg. Okay, this is a cultural iceberg.
Oh,
And-
they're furthest from the source. So it'd
Yes.
be like something like, it'd be very naive. So it'd be like probably like hula girls or
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what are those
Yeah.
shows they have at the places?
Well, what do they wear over here? What do the hula girls wear here?
Coconut.
They wear
Yeah.
coconut bras. Yeah, farthest from the source. Thank you very much for expediting that. Coconut bras. But the things that we're going to look for is we want to look at entertainment, something we can look at, entertaining. We want to look at maybe clothes. We want to look at language. We want to look at food. We want to look at, or maybe by entertain, maybe I also mean music. Okay. So the clothes, what do they live in? Oh, those Hawaiians, they live in,
Bikinis.
Huts.
yeah, they live in little grass shacks. When I first was told we were moving to Hawaii, we were living in Long Beach, California. I was just out of second grade. I was naive. I thought everybody in Hawaii spoke Hawaiian. So here I was, a second grade. I went to the bookshelf. I pulled out the little miniature Hawaiian dictionary, and I started to try to study so I could speak Hawaiian. And I did that for probably about a half hour, and then I just said, I'll just talk only to my family, I guess. but you know, I was naive. But they thought people lived in grass shacks. Got it. What kind of music do they listen to? That might be a
Slack
little.
key.
Slack key is what people
Not
hear.
the slack key, but the steel.
Ukulele.
You call that thing? Steel guitar, like.
Oh yeah,
Ukulele.
that's a steel guitar. Yeah, yeah. The ukulele, they probably know that. They might think the ukulele. What's a song that you would be familiar with from Hawaii?
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Yeah. Well, now, boy, that's all over the world.
That's
But more-
so, yeah.
More like
Mele Kaliki Maka.
or that or the whole time in Belgium, everybody was humming. We're going to the hookie lao, the hookie. Everybody's humming it in the family. I'm going like, what? And we all start humming it. I can't believe it. I think the theme song to Hawaii 5-0 is Hawaiian. Also, songs like Wipeout. And they also have all the Elvis songs, Blue Hawaii. That's the songs they think of, those songs.
The Don Ho
Say again?
songs. Don Ho songs.
Oh yeah, yeah, Tiny Bubble in the
Yes.
wine. I saw him when he was in the ICU one day. A short story. The doctor was going to intubate him because he's in respiratory failure. And he says, we have to intubate you, Mr. Ho. He says, no, because you have to literally go through the vocal cords. He says, I'm not going to let you mess with my voice. And the doctor looked down at him. He's a funny guy too. He goes, Mr. Ho, dying will mess with your voice. But he still refused. He still refused. He would not be intubated. And he got discharged a week later, but he died 3 months later. So, but anyway, grass shacks. So we call this, this is the tip of the iceberg. This is what people far away, we'll solve it. The more interesting development we want to make also is this portion over here. This section of this, I'm going to change colors. This is what we call, you guys may know, HVB. Does anybody know what HVB is?
Hawaii Visitor.
Yeah, Hawaii Visitor Bureau. They're the ones that pump information out there. HTA, Hawaii Tourism Authority. That's what I call this section here. It's all about perpetuating this familiarity. Like, yeah, I'm going to go. And what do they think everybody does all day here? These people from Arkansas think, yeah, they surf, they play ukulele, like you were saying, Bob, before. They just hang out on the beach. Nobody needs to work. Sometimes it's like that, but it's not the standard.
Not really.
This part here is local people. Right? So what do local people know about Hawaii that people over here have no idea?
It's really expensive to live there.
Oh yeah, I said that, but what about what kind of music do they think? The local people think. This used to be more likely about 10 or 15 years ago. But
Yeah, it depends on how old you are.
in a way, I remember when 30 years ago, we were coming to our first family reunion in Hawaii. There was about 1,000 of us in Maui. And I had an uncle in Colorado. He said, just bring me back some Hawaiian music. So there, I got here. I started digging through the cassette tapes. That's 30 years ago. I bought all these tapes of Sicilian Kapono, my favorite. It's the music I grew up to, right? And we sent it to him. And he calls me and he tells me, bro, there's not a single song there that's in Hawaiian. And it shocked me. I said, what? But that's Hawaiian music, but I didn't know it wasn't in Hawaiian. I didn't know I didn't know. I was so unknowing at that time. So back then, but C&K is what local people like, C&K. What other kinds of music do people listen to today that they think, yeah, this is what Hawaiians listen to? If you go out, what kind?
Hawaiian reggae?
Yeah, or that's called Jawaiian. Jawaiian music. They even made a phony Hawaiian flag with it looks Jawaiian. It looks reggae-ish flag, the green yellow one. They call it the sovereignty flag. I don't know who did that, but that was weird to call it that. What kind of food do they eat here that people here don't know about?
Wow.
Lau. Yeah, people here would know what's in a luau for the most part, but some lau. They would know what poi. They would know poi, people living here. Not a lot eat it. If it was, we'd have a lot of poi. You get served them in these tiny little cups that are almost just one hitters. Like, really? Is it symbolic poi? But, it's okay. People don't eat poi a lot, so I'm going to put a question mark around that. They don't really know what it's like to eat poi. My cousin flew in from Colorado. God, what's up with Colorado? And they sat down to eat, and I had my other cousin from Maui, and we're just grinding, you eat a little bit of the lau, dig on some poi, some lomi salmon, dig on some poi, a little bit of squid luau, then dig on some poi. And then here's my cousin across from Colorado. She's just as Colorado and Hawaiian as they get. And she eats her lau, eats her lomi salmon, eats her kalua pig, and then takes a bite of her poi and then says, okay, I'm finished. What? Give me that poi. But she just doesn't really, they just don't get the poi thing because they weren't raised here, but, live and love. Anyway, what other traditions do we have here that people outside of Hawaii don't know about? What do you do when you go into somebody's house?
Take your shoes off.
You better take your shoes off or you're gonna be hit with their shoes. But I remember in California, I was studying with my friends for a history exam. And I went and took my shoes off. I went to his house. His parents were gone. We're goofing off. All we did for the whole study time is we made alternative names for rock bands, wrote it all over his history book. We never studied for that history test. But about 2 hours later, we had like, instead of Janis Joplin, we had Janis Joplin. Pat Travers was Flat Blabbers. I still remember all the names on the book. But his parents, he could hear the electric garage door open. And he got shocked. He looks at me. He goes, "Guy, hurry, go to the front door. Put your shoes on." Oh, that was so weird. Run to the front door, like put my shoes on, and it just felt weird to walk in the house with my shoes on. But yeah, you take your shoes off. You leave your slippers at the door. Oh, and that's another thing, slippers. We wear slippers, right? You take shoes off. What is it you do when you greet people?
Kiss them.
You kiss them. I was working with a graduate Japanese student, and I was tasked with interviewing his whole graduate studies. I said, what in Hawaii would you love to take back with you to Japan? What practice? He says, the practice I would love is that everybody greets and kisses each other when they meet each other, but it will never catch on in Japan. But that's because that's just what we do. We greet, what do we call them?
Auntie, uncle.
Yeah, everybody's auntie or uncle. Auntie, uncles, everybody is, right? So these are what local people kind of more or less do. There is a bit of olelo in it, but not a whole lot in this local. The majority of people in Hawaii, so a majority of the people in Hawaii aren't Hawaiian. All these people are non-Hawaiian, right, for the most part. But some of my cousins, I mean, they're Hawaiian, but they clearly fall into this category. So this is what I call this the PCC group. This is the Polynesian Culture Center. You're just going to see the surface of everything, right? Just the surface of this water. These people have no idea, right? That's why they're HVB. Everything they learned is from the magazines you find at Waikiki on the side. You pick them up for free. This is the Polynesian Culture Center. So what this is what people just slightly removed, but a little more authentic, but not quite Hawaiian. Poi maybe, lau, but like I said, poi, locals often don't even eat poi, which is kind of sad. Now we get down to here. This is if we went 400, 500, 600 years ago. What's happening here that these people don't know about? Most of these people don't know about. One, we chant. They chant everywhere. Not everybody's a chanter, but everybody could chant. What else? The spirituality. You were as much part of the earth as you were part of your family. These two would almost be the same. You bury your kupuna into the earth or into the sand. You are birthed out from that. You grow from that. Your ancestors came from that. Your very first ancestor in this class comes from the earth. So these meld. Your family is your land is your family. That's definitely not what happens here. I was just talking about that in Belgium. Belgium, they're very close to their land. They protect their land. We don't do that very well, at least. Spirituality. What other things are down here that people hear? The silence is kind of answering some of my questions. What's happening down here? Things we don't even know. Go ahead. Any guesses?
Just fighting, like just.
Well, there was war. There was war, I'll say. There's war everywhere, but there's a way to conduct war. But also there was, in the chant, there's genealogy. That's also part of a chant, genealogy. But in that genealogy is incest at the levels of the gods. In the levels of the gods, there are incest. And we'll talk about that. There's what I was worried about, there was real language. When everybody speaks Hawaiian, Hawaiian sounds different. Excuse me. So here, I've talked to people from DEHO and I can't understand them. They're just ripping it. They're just ripping their language at you. They go, whoa, and they know I can't understand when they're going, you know. Excuse me. So this is really deep into the authenticity. You're getting more and more authentic. You're getting more and more. And these are the native speakers, primarily way down here, or those that are fluent in speaking, that know all the stories, that know the religious experiences that occur. The thing that I always wondered was, what does a mother who just gave birth to her baby whisper to that baby? You're never going to learn that in any class. It's not written in any book. It was just passed from grandmother to grandmother to grandmother to grandmother, just what you whisper to your child. What do you scream when you stub your toe? You know, I asked the DEHO if they have funny terms, but I don't know what they scream. They probably just use the F word. But the idea, what I want us to understand here is, when we say nana ike kumu, we mean nana this kumu. We mean always look down this. For these people, they just need to look here. It'll be overwhelming. These people need to look here. And these people here need to go even farther. When we say nana ike kumu, look to the source, we mean look as far as you can. It doesn't mean go once again to Waikiki and pick up all those little brochures and say, I'm going to study on what Hawaii is about. You know, where are the cool places and what do Hawaiians do? What do Hawaiians eat? You know, that kind of stuff. But it's not always an easy task to do. But let me give a bit of a pivot, because I want to make sure we do this. It's time for you to participate. Thank you. Okay, not this one, not this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. Okay. Okay, I'm going to share my screen one more time. What I want you guys to do for me, please, is to tell me, what is your first impression, or what are the first emotional feelings you have, or what's a thought that is conveyed by this picture? Just some thoughts, ideas, words, descriptions. I'm not really, I know you can describe what you're looking at, but what's the thoughts or the feelings that come to you when you look at this?
Hoax, discovery.
What was that? What was the first word?
Hoax, H-O-A-X.
Yeah.
Conspiracy, like it never happened.
Yeah, that's something.
Because
Yeah.
I'll never be able to prove it. So
Yeah. Okay. What was the second thing you said though?
I said discovery.
Okay. Any others?
I guess just science for me.
Science? Sure.
Yeah.
What kind of science?
Patriotism.
Patriotism. Obviously, we could put our first footprint on there. Any others, Mr. Cullen?
I just was thinking American.
Yeah, American, indeed. Miss Chelsea, a little quiet.
Just exploration.
Exploration.
The first.
The first, yeah. Okay, Miss Leah, I need you to catch up since you weren't in the first pass. Tell me, what are your thoughts about this one? Anything?
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Okay, I'm going to switch to the next one. Here we go. Let's see if I can make this work right. Okay, boom. This one.
Beautiful.
Chaos.
Chaos. Anything?
Beautiful.
Intricate.
Intricate. Beautiful. Any others?
Cultivated.
I'm sorry, Melissa.
Cultivated.
Cultivated. Gotcha. Next one. Anybody else? Mr. Kala?
I said chaos.
Oh, you were the chaos. Sorry. Okay. Chaos. Beautiful. Cultivated. Here we go again.
Ooh, fun.
Fun.
Cold.
Cold. Certainly.
Winner.
Bingo. Anything else? Give me one more. Moving forward.
Strength.
Strength. How about this?
Conquer. Violence.
Conquer. Violence.
Aggression.
Aggression.
Awesome.
Awesome. Anything else?
What's awesome about that, Kyle?
Oh,
Something
nothing.
top right.
Yeah.
Firepower.
Okay. Okay.
It is clearly marketing the military
Yes,
industrial complex.
marketing.
Okay. Hey, everybody
Oh.
wait. Thoughts?
I think they're really cute.
Oh, cute. Miss Leah? Melissa?
Well, I just think nursing home.
Okay. Well, that's a fact. That's certain. Emotion? Mr. Kala, you got an emotion there?
Kumu.
Kumu. Okay. I'm gonna now make an attempt. Do me a favor, maybe I can skip. I don't think I can skip. I think I have to break out and go back to this one. Just like this. Now, try to just reflect on that a bit. I'm going to try to pull up a little video. This takes a little bit of time. Okay. And I am going to now, I'm going to make sure all my volumes are up, which they should be. That's up, that's up. Okay. And I'm going to share this video. I just want you guys to watch this right here. Right. I'm going to make it a full screen so it's easier to read the subtitles in it. You should be able to, oh shoot, nope, I have to do the share the sound thing again. There. Oh, I should leave that. It is on already. Okay. Here we go. It's a little relaxing little video here. You can see what the subtitles are saying right now. It's in French, if I'm not mistaken. I want to make it full screen. And now I'm going to play it.
Proposé de réagir à des images de notre monde dont ils se méfient tant. Nous leur avons montré le pire et le meilleur. À l'heure où le soleil était le plus haut, ils nous ont invités à nous réunir dans la case des hommes, interdite aux femmes. Vous aviez déjà vu ces images?
Non, jamais.
Est-ce que vous saviez que l'homme blanc était allé sur la Lune?
Oui, on en a entendu parler. Mais pourquoi vous êtes allé là-bas? Qu'est-ce que vous êtes allé chercher là-bas? Quel intérêt pour les humains d'aller là-bas?
Et qu'est-ce que ça vous fait? Quelle impression ça vous fait qu'un homme ait pu marcher sur la Lune?
Nous, ça nous inquiète. La Lune a été créée pour être loin de la Terre, pour ne pas qu'on y touche. La Lune est là pour nous éclairer la nuit. Autrefois, il n'y avait pas autant de... Vous avez dû la déranger. Nous, ici, on a remarqué des changements. On a de plus en plus chaud. Il y a moins d'air frais qu'avant. Avec votre technologie, vous allez tuer la Lune.
Ça, ce sont nos jardins. C'est le jardin à la française. Qu'est-ce que vous pensez de ce jardin-là, vous qui êtes habitué à votre forêt?
Ce n'est pas bien ce que vous faites à vos plantes. Vous leur faites mal en les taillant comme ça. Pour nous, les plantes ont un esprit. On n'a pas le droit de les traiter comme ça. Tailler un arbre, c'est le faire souffrir. Nous, quand on doit les arracher pour faire une plantation de manioc, on a de la peine. Ces plantes que vous coupez et cisaillez, si vous ne les arrosiez pas, elles mourraient certainement.
Vous savez ce que c'est, ça? C'est la neige. Dans les pays froids, tombent des morceaux blancs, très glacés, et après les hommes glissent dessus. Ok. Ça, c'est la guerre des Blancs. Voilà comment les Blancs font la guerre. Vous en pensez quoi? Vous qui avez encore vos flèches et vos arcs.
Nous, quand on tue un animal, on a de la peine. Vous imaginez alors un humain? Vous tuez un animal pour manger? À moins que ça ne fasse partie de vos coutumes.
Pourtant, vous, les tribus, vous êtes fait la guerre entre vous.
Ah oui, mais c'est pas pareil. Vous, les Blancs, vous faites la guerre pour prendre quelque chose sur cette terre. Pas nous. C'est vrai que nos ancêtres aussi se battaient entre eux, comme il l'a dit. On nous volait un enfant ou une femme. Un peu plus tard, on attaquait la tribu avec nos arcs et nos flèches pour voler un enfant ou une femme. Mais sans tuer toute la communauté, ni tout détruire comme vous le faites avec vos bombes. Ça n'a rien à voir, c'est une forme de troc. Tu me voles, je te vole. D'ailleurs, ceux qui faisaient la guerre, c'était surtout les Indiens cannibales.
connaissez lui? Le chef, il le connaît?
Non, on ne le connaît pas.
Zidane, c'est un joueur français qui est un des plus grands joueurs de foot au monde. Je voulais savoir si Zidane allait jusque dans vos tribus. Ben non. Et vous le connaissez lui?
This is funny.
Vous savez qui c'est?
Michael Jackson.
Comment vous savez?
J'ai vu une fois à la télé à la ville.
Il y en a combien qui le connaissent?
Only the kids.
They know Mike.
Yeah.
Non, on ne le connaît pas. Jamais entendu parler.
On dit que c'est la première star planétaire. On dit que n'importe quel endroit dans le monde, quelqu'un connaît Michael Jackson. Donc même dans votre tribu, les jeunes le connaissent. C'est le 11 septembre, 2 avions qui rentrent dans des tours à New York. Quelqu'un veut réagir?
Shouldn't this kind of be traumatizing?
C'est comme les mauvais sorciers chez
They have to first understand it.
personne.
So this is their
Les gens qui
perception.
ont fait ça n'ont pas de cœur. Ils ne savent même pas qui ils tuent.
Voilà, c'est ce qu'on fait de nos personnes âgées. Très souvent, en France, lorsque les personnes sont trop âgées, on les met dans des hospices, dans des maisons, sans leur famille, sans leurs enfants. Qu'est-ce que vous faites de vos vieux, vous?
Pour nous, nos vieux sont sacrés. Nous nous occupons beaucoup d'eux. Nous ne les abandonnons jamais. Ce sont nos ancêtres. Nous les accompagnons. On les soigne jusqu'au bout. Il n'y a pas d'endroit pour les vieux ici. La famille s'en occupe jusqu'à la fin. Nous devons nous rappeler de tout ce qu'ils ont fait pour nous, de la naissance jusqu'à notre vie d'adulte. Ces images me rendent triste. Ça n'arriverait jamais chez nous.
Okay. All right. Hold on one sec. Okay. What was the deal here then? Wait, hold on. Something's making noise. Okay, it's going away. Okay. So what was the deal? What was the purpose?
It's kind of like that iceberg thing you're looking at, you're drawing. I
And
think how they had American culture, or that's what I got from it. It's like they're trying to figure out things from their perspective, not knowing much about the culture, whether it's skiing or what we do with the elderly, or Michael Jackson, which some of them knew, what they know, what they see from afar, and how they interpret it in
Exactly.
relation.
So, any other thoughts?
Yep. I just want to expand on what he said. Spot on. I think perception is key. So like when I was working in logistics, I mean, it was mainly about how the customer perceived you. It didn't really matter about what you felt or thought. It was the perception of it. So it was kind of cool about what you said there, because to me, immediately that was traumatizing, watching people jump outside of the towers. But to them, they probably had no clue what was the actual value of that going on.
So the idea is this: if you're immersed in a society, if we try to explain or talk, how much do we even know how the Amazon tribes think or believe? We don't. And yet here we are trying to understand Hawaiian culture, speaking English under American technology of fluorescent lamps in air-conditioned classrooms, wearing Western style clothes, eating Western food. So the purpose of this is to say, no matter how much we look at things, native cultures of different places will look at them either bizarrely or mysteriously, or even the concept. I thought those gardens were pretty, like, when I look at those well manicured gardens, my back just gets sore to think, gosh, who cut all those bushes and who did? But in the end, I do feel that plants have their own force, and that we're not really to interfere with how they want to do things. And in Belgium, they feel the same way. You should see their gardens. And my girlfriend, she thinks mowed lawns are just torture. Your yard.
They are. Waste so much water up here in Minnesota. My dad's watering. It's 95 degrees out. It's like, why are you? Yeah, I don't want to get into it.
Yeah. Well, even for the conservation of resources, but the fact that you should just let things grow the way they are and trim them if you need to, not just for aesthetic purposes. So that what this comes back to is this: as we try to find out what this native cultural concept is, especially as educators, especially people who are coming in from native cultures or people from other cultures coming to your classroom, you first have to realize this: you have no freaking idea how they perceive things. And that's okay. But start with that. Start that you know you want to look deep, but start believing you don't know what's down there. Don't believe you know what's down there, or you'll just see what you're projecting you wanted to see. Like my friends who say, oh, the Hawaiians wanted to be part of the United States. It's pretty clear a vast majority didn't. But so in this class, when I say nana ike kumu, this is what I mean. This video is what I mean. This iceberg is what I'm talking about. Be okay with not knowing what it is you're looking for. Just know you're trying to go down to find it. And so it doesn't mean go to Waikiki to find out what Hawaii is about, which is, I never take my friends there. We go into the valleys where it's all Hawaii teaching the lesson. I don't even have to say nothing. This is it. Do you feel it? If you want to know what Hawaiians felt about it, I'll tell you, or go into the ocean, away from all the surfers and everything. Well, they surfed and everything, but go out and just watch the ocean, its own ecosystems. So that's what I want us to talk about. Or that's what I wanted to sort of take home, that in this cultural iceberg, we're really trying to look down. I need to move quickly because I think I'm going to do you an incredible injustice. There's two things I'm going to just jump to. And again, we're not talking about the readings. I'm going to find some magical way to catch up on all our readings. But I have another Olelo no Iao that I want to talk about, but it's going to start with, let me write it down. I'll let you guys maybe discuss amongst yourself. Does anybody know what is the heaviest edible fruit in the plant kingdom is?
Watermelon.
Oh, that's what I would have said. Nope.
Dang it.
But it's okay. It's not an unreasonable. In parts of the world, it's the heaviest edible fruit.
The banana.
The what? Have you seen a banana recently? Have you ate one? Who said that?
I said banana.
Okay, we'll put banana on the list. Any others? Think what's the heavy? What's heavier?
Coconut.
Banana? Coconut? That's pretty small. Watermelon. That's a pretty high bar. Brother Rob put up there. Right? Heaviest edible fruit.
Mango.
A mango? What's heavier, a mango or a watermelon?
Ulu?
Ulu? What's heavier, a watermelon or ulu?
Oh,
I don't know.
what about
see
a durian?
big ulu.
Okay,
How heavy is durian?
I'm gonna show you what the heaviest edible fruit in the plant kingdom looks like. Really quick. I have to cheat by looking at it's all on this other PowerPoint.
I was right.
What's that?
Pumpkin. I saw when she said banana.
Oh,
I just looked up online. Let's
oh
go.
no, you don't want to look online, bro. That takes all the
Oh,
fun.
that's cheating.
We're not talking about
Disqualified.
who knows internet.
I said I just looked up online. I thought it was durian. I wanted to see if durian was heavy enough, so I was looking up the way to durian. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I mean, that's not an unreasonable thought. But pumpkins on average are not the heaviest fruit at least as I understand it. On average, the heaviest, I think there's a 453-pound pumpkin 2 years ago. I mean, there's no fruit that grows that big, but that's by far an exception. I will show you what the heaviest edible fruit looks like. I'll see if I can make it bigger here. So it looks a little bigger so everybody can actually see. Right here, the heaviest edible fruit in the plant kingdom is jackfruit, which looks just like durian. So that's
What is that?
That's jackfruit, but it's in the family of the durian family, but jackfruit's slightly larger. It's the heaviest edible fruit in the plant kingdom is the jackfruit. And but that's the war. So what I want to ask you now to start this discussion on is what's the second heaviest fruit in the plant kingdom? So since we threw out a whole bunch before, including durian, but that's in the same family as jackfruit. The second heaviest fruit in the plant kingdom is?
Banana.
Banana is the second heaviest fruit in the plant kingdom. It absolutely is, because it's the whole bunch. The whole bunch is actually the fruit. It's not just one banana. Melissa, you were right, but I was going to make fun of it. Say, did you see what's bigger, a banana or but you consider it the whole bunch. The other trivia question is this: in the banana bunch, okay, no looking it up, Do the bananas grow up, out, or down? Okay,
Down.
so okay, just think about it. Just think about it. I'm gonna show me by show of hands. How many say it grows down? How many say it goes sort of straight at one? How many say it goes straight up? How many say it grows up? 1, 2. Wow. Do you guys ever pick bananas? The answer is it grows up, which seems kind of weird.
No. You haven't told them the fun fact about what I just found out this week, the difference between that a banana actually grows on a plant, not a tree. I could not believe that.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about right now. So can you guys see I'm going to put that, can you see this proverb at the top? I need you guys to translate it for me. But don't use your computer. No, don't use your computer. If you did the assignment, you should know. Give me some of the words here.
Maya's banana.
Yep, right there, banana. That's why we're talking about it. Banana.
Is pa'a water? No.
Say again?
Grow? Is pa'a grow?
Nope.
No.
Yeah, ulu is to grow. I don't know how pa'a might come from that, but we'll get to know that word. Any other words people know? Throw it out there. Wait, who said? Oh, Rhonda, you said banana, right? Who said
I
banana?
didn't say banana. No.
I did.
Okay,
I
Melissa.
know
Okay.
K is the.
Oh, you got the. I didn't want you to. Okay, you get that one there, Rhonda. Any others? Everybody? Anybody?
I think is one of them supported? Or,
Yeah. Which one means support?
Ko'o.
Ko'o means support. It comes from the word ka-ko'o. Ka-ko'o is what really means support. Ka-ko'o. Okay. Any other words?
Is pa'a
Solid.
strong?
Pa'a-
I'm not sure.
Pa'a means two things. It means either to be stuck or solid,
Okay.
right? Like vaipa'a, solid water. What's vaipa'a? It's ice.
Ice.
Yeah. Means solid. This is just means past tense. That's all the ua means. I know one of you took it and did all these beautiful proverbs about rain, which is what ua means. But in this case, it's just means past tense. This is past tense, and this means two. Now, let's now that we got that translated, how about I'm going to need to now. We're going on 30 minutes. We're right at the half hour. I think I can finish in 10 minutes, if that's okay. If not, we can start all this next week. In 10 minutes, we can wrap this up and be done. Can we do it? Is that okay, everybody?
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah.
I've never asked for a whole 10 minutes, but let's do it quickly. Let's take a look. The Hawaiian said this, he mai'a ua pa'a ike ko'o. He mai'a ua pa'a ike ko'o. What exactly do you think it's trying to say? Many of you had mentioned it here. In fact, many of you, I just put bravo, meaning you could teach it the way you described it. What do you think this meant here? Many of you wrote it down. I mean, it takes a long time to do this if nobody talks. Give me anything to go on. What is it
You mean
saying?
the translation?
Yes.
A banana tree is supported, well supported by its props.
Right there. So this hey meant a, so a banana or banana. By the way, what do we call it a what again? You were just saying? What is supported?
Banana tree.
A banana tree. And this is exactly what Rob was saying. A tree. Hawaiians, what's the word for Hawaii, tree in Hawaiian? Anybody? All my Hawaiian language, kumu. Kumu la'au actually is what we call it. Literally the source of plants or trees. A kumu la'au is considered a tree. This in Hawaiian, they call it a pu mai'a, which essentially can be broken down to mean a gathering of banana. That's definitely, we have a kumu la'au, we have ohia, we have koa, we have iliahi. These are all trees. We have niu, coconut trees. We know they're kumu la'au, but we didn't call this a tree. In English, we call it a tree. In fact, what this resembles, But this is the plant that carries the second heaviest fruit in the edible plant kingdom. And it's not even a tree. The Hawaiians looked at this and they thought that was remarkable. They thought it was remarkable that this thing, which isn't even a tree, can support this weight. It can support that weight. And they call it a pumaia. Now, how does it do it? How does this tree support the heaviest? It's banana is not a tree in botany purposes.
They collaborate and work together. Each
Yeah,
part of the tree.
But what this banana literally is, it's almost comes from the same derivative of grass, except it's grass on steroids. And it actually does carry the second heaviest fruit in the plant kingdom. But why and how again, Mr. Bob?
They collaborate and work together. So the roots do their part, taking in the water and the nutrients. Then the I don't know what you call the thing. I always forget what the things down the everything does their part.
Yeah, everything does their part. But you were saying?
Oh no. Keep
Okay.
going.
Anybody else? What this? How it does it? This thing says the banana tree is solid. This is solid because of the ko'o. These are the ko'o. These little upsprouts that are right here. These little guys, they're called ko'o. That's their name. And it's because that these things stabilize the ground. It's because that even physical proximity helps support. These can grow by themselves, but it's not easy. And once this sprouts, then it's going to start tipping. The weight will start pulling it. If others aren't keeping the ground supported and solid and locked down, this will just tip over and it will be done. By the way, what happens after this fruit? What happens to this banana tree?
Cut it down.
Well, it dies. You can cut it down because it won't fruit again. Then the next one will come up and fruit, and the next one after that. So many of you were spot on what this was really saying. Anybody? Well, let me go to Miss Leah. Miss Leah, what did you think it meant?
A person who has many supporters.
Indeed, a person has many supporters. Any others have the relevance of why you would possibly carry this proverb down year after year after year?
I think it shows unity, the
Unity.
power of unity, right?
The
So
unity
you don't
of
work
the,
by, that banana doesn't work by what?
the unity of what? The group. Or the true. What were some of the others? I'm going straight to Bob. What did you say it was? You're the only person ever to say the two words on this proverb.
Work together, collaborate, and listen.
I loved how you first started with, this means banana stuck on a stick. I thought that was a great interpretation. And then you came all the way down that you want to encourage something and something.
Teamwork.
And
develop leaders that unify, not divide.
Leadership.
And then I said to remember who helped you to get where you are.
Exactly. This is an example of what leadership is. That's how leadership thrives. And maybe that. But the leadership thrives because everybody supports the leader who becomes the fruitful one. And in this case, this is what Mary Kavena Pukui. Mary Kavena Pukui is in less than my generation. She was alive in my lifetime. She knows this part. She is Nana Ike Kumo. She even said so. Yes, somebody's.
My kid just gave me the book.
Oh, okay. Yeah, she wrote a ton of books, including the very dictionary that you click the button and you go check out. Mary Kavena Pukui, she says it means leadership. But for us, I want us to say it means teamwork also. So I always put my interpretation second because she will interpret this, the banana strong because of its supports, the ko'o.
Yeah, but they work together because if I'm going off what you said last week, Kamehameha, you talked about how he was the great unifier and his brother was never remembered. So a great leader is gonna develop teamwork across your
Well,
team, right?
The brother wasn't remembered by people who don't typically know. Nobody has ever, in 15 years of saying this question, nobody's ever said it. But people knew him. He's a great guy. He's in many stories, but people that I typically deal with have no idea who his brother is. But in this particular case, it can also be symbolic that when we all pull together in a team, we can become fruitful. And in the classroom, I want you to know it. I want that to be your tool. That will be one of your tools you can use. And whenever I make this little mark, what does that mean? That means I want you to begin committing it to memory. We will talk about it every single day, but by the end of this session, by the end of this semester, I want you to be able to recite it, likely be able to recite it. And we'll talk about all the Proverbs every single day, adding them every day. So if you start now, just try to get it. You won't be ever graded on it. I'm not here to force it, but I'm here to say, if you don't pick it up and start saying it, it won't become the tool that you wished it would be when you really needed it the most. Here, really quick, I need you to tell, I'm going to tell you something right now. Does anybody know, this is my trivia day, everything trivia teach. By the way, what was the answer to the ice right here? Did we decide? So the ice
Depends on temperature.
What's that? So
Depends on the temperature.
If we were, what would they call it? Isothermic, meaning bam, same temperature, no heat fluxing, it melts. Does the water go up and thus overflow? Does it just stay the same, or does it go down? Who says the water will climb and overflow? Raise your hand. 1, 2, 3. I saw 3. Who says the water will just stay the same when that big ice cube melts? 1.
And the water's filled all the way to the top?
Yeah, it was filled to the top. Then we put the ice on. So then it's absolutely filled to the top. Okay, and then the last is the water sinks inside the glass. Okay, Carl, you didn't answer any of them.
I'm thinking number 2.
Which one?
I was trying to be right, that's why.
It's not trying to be right. Just what does your perception tell you? Your perception.
My first one, overflow.
Overflow. The answer is it stays the same. Archimedes' principle says the weight, since when the ice melts, it becomes smaller, and it will fill. So the part of the ice that's sticking out of the water is the weight of the iceberg that will, all of it will collapse, and it will fill in the hole that it was making in the water level completely. It will unexpand and fit in the space. Archimedes says it will be perfectly in alignment, and that's only because we did the cultural iceberg. Now I have one more thing. Honest, this is kind of a fun one, honest. Does anybody know, and this is the last that we'll be done with this trivia question. Does anybody know what is the largest carnivorous land mammal is? Largest carnivorous land mammal is?
Carnivorous. It's not the grizzly bear.
Largest carnivorous land mammal.
Dinosaur.
They don't live today. Today is the largest, because then we'd have tyrannosaurs, but those aren't mammals. Those are reptiles.
Grizzly bear.
Is it a rhino?
Grizzly bear. Rhino is an herbivore.
Oh, oops.
Yeah, but grizzly bear is pretty close, but no, it's not the grizzly bear.
Kodiak bear.
What is that? I don't even know. I've never heard that word.
Oh, Alaska.
Not a hippo? No.
Hippo is another herbivore, even though they've been known to cannibalize. They've eaten other hippos.
A crocodile?
The crocodile is a reptile, not a land mammal.
Oh, oops.
The largest land mammal was very much, maybe they call it a Kodiak bear. The largest carnivorous land mammal is the polar bear. It is much larger than a grizzly bear. It would just eat grizzly bears for lunch.
Used to be till we took away their habitat. Now they're
now they're dying.
Little.
Yeah, but yeah, they're difficult to thrive in a ice-free environment. So the question is this: some of you may know the complexity, and so you might know where this is going. If you really know what's happening in this scenario, it's okay to hold back, but just raise your hand or just give me a thumbs up. You know where it's going. The one thing, what does a polar bear eat? Can you give me some things a polar bear might eat?
Fish.
Fish, definitely. They love a seal. Anything else? Melissa, Leah. Chelsea.
Polar bear.
Oh, another polar bear. They'll eat each other. They'll eat polar pups. The pups.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, that's part of nature. Fortunately,
Walrus?
what's one? A walrus?
Walrus?
A walrus? Good. Seal?
Penguin?
A penguin? Wait, hold on. One more. Penguin? Anything else?
People.
Oh,
They might be people. The people are called apex predators. People are apex. We're at the top.
Coke, the Coke
But-
commercial. We had the polar bear and the penguin.
Of course, it was. There we go. The penguin. But anything else? But they eat whales, especially if they're beached, or they're smart enough to sit there at the hole where the whale pops up, and they know there are no holes around. He only can swim for 20 minutes underwater. He's going to come back, and they'll jump on him, and they'll scratch at him, and they'll bite on them. I mean, it's hard because they're so large, but they will kill them or attempt to kill them in that hole, and then they'll float up, and then they'll just gnaw on them. But of all the things, so they can eat whales. They can eat people, but it's not typical. They are an apex predator. Nothing really eats them. The trip is this, that the polar bear will never approach a penguin, never. And a penguin has no fear of the polar bear. My question to you is, why is that true? What is it about their relationship, or what is it that a polar bear will never approach them? I mean, I don't know how close they'll get, but they never really approach them, not enough to be a threat. And the penguins don't approach them, but they're not afraid of them anyway. Why would that be so?
Because they're in groups.
Oh yeah, hundreds of thousands, but that's not the problem. The polar bears can easily charge into whole groups of walruses or seals. And those seals, they have big tusks. They can hammer at that polar bear, but they all run. Why not? Think about it. Just put yourself in the canoe of the polar bear. Why wouldn't you want to eat that penguin? You'll never have that desire. Why not? Why does the penguin just say, hey, who cares? He's a big fluffy ball. He's not ever going to get me.
Too small.
Well, some might say that. Feathers, choke, get it stuck in their nose or something. Bony is all hell. By the way, an emperor penguin is easily twice the size of a small child. It would be a sizable meal, but they don't. And it's not because they're too small or too big. The answer is, since I'm keeping you guys late, I thought you knew, Brother Bob.
I don't know.
They don't live in the same habitat? I don't know.
Oh, all I know is the males take care of the eggs while the female. Yeah, I don't know.
Polar bears are on the North Pole. Penguins are on the South Pole.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They don't even know they exist. But why do we think they eat them? Because you watched TV. You watched TV. So when you're trying to look into the iceberg, don't go with prior knowledge. Fred
Oh,
Flintstone,
kind of like how we think we've been on the moon, right? No, I'm just kidding.
or that Fred Flintstone could have a brontosaurus burger. Dinosaurs and humans were separated by millions of years. So your TV does impact what you perceive to be the natural order of things, but they're not. So the first thing you have to do in learning is to unlearn, or to be open to learn, just like what everybody is saying. And sometimes it's silly stuff like a Coke commercial that says, you think you're looking down into this iceberg, but you might not be, because you're all clouded with your prior info. I hope that was worth staying 15 minutes late. I think you're nearly the record late I've ever held this class. I'm really trying to, I'm going to talk faster and less, and I need you guys to talk faster at me so we can move quicker. I don't want you guys to stay this late all the time. It's a big investment of your time. I always appreciate you guys, especially your work. We will eventually talk about the reading because you guys say so many cool things. I want us all to share it together. Please consider reading other people's. Oh, shoot, one more. Okay, everybody saw that kid, that project. I usually don't post it. I don't usually do that. I don't want you guys to look at it. Has anybody turned that kid assignment in?
I did.
Okay, I want you to rethink it. I want you to, even after today's lectures, if there's anything, if that helps you. If you wrote it, that's fine, but I want you to really read what I asked for carefully. And then tell me, what do you think? And don't just, what I do in this class is, we don't just lecture and I tell you this and A plus B equals C squared, whatever. Well, I want you to get into the canoe. I want you to get into the canoe and really see this kid sitting next to you. Really see it, because that way you can feel it and sort of sense it. And then what do you say to this kid? What are you saying? Did everybody understand what it said? I know it's kind of bust up, but I mean, we can read it, but I think you guys can get it. If you have a problem, be sure to just call or text me and I'll say, hey, let me just read it to you and tell you what I think it's trying to say. But I want you, because you'll have students like this. You'll have students like this. What would you do? What would you say? Okay, that's that assignment. So it's going to be up there. I'll take all these notes together. I'll put them up and post them. I'm really happy you guys are handling this well. I know it's a big workload. I'm going to tell you straight up and personal. The least priority, if you're really struggling to get things done, I know some of you might be, is the language. Those videos, they're so easy and they're self-answering that if you're going to fall behind there, but everything in the end should be finished. Everything in the end should be finished. If I haven't graded it up to that link, then it's not late, because if I'm behind, I can't give you a penalty for being behind. But if I catch up and I start grading it, then oh no. But don't worry, guys. For those that are turning in this class, this one where I put right up on the line, if you do it quickly, because I want all the memories to be fresh, I give you 2 extra points. Not that much, 2 extra points, but we have 10 classes. You do it every class, that's 20 extra points. That's like missing a whole class. So, but either way, I don't want you to miss any classes. But I just want to encourage you to do this assignment where you just, what I really thought was trippy in this class, type it all out. Okay. And what worked for me, or that was kind of boring, and I was falling asleep because it was 11:30 at night at my house. I'm like kidding.
Man, I still gotta go get some Taco Bell, bro.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I have to go. I'm sorry. I have to log out because I'm missing dinner. I'll see you guys next time.
Take it easy, guys. I'll see you. Anybody who wants to talk, I'll stay on I will stay a couple minutes later. Okay. I'll see everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Later. How do I stop?